Hi everyone and welcome to Club 1 episode 20 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. So, truth be told, I've had about a week or so off through the Christmas festive season of 2019. So if you're watching these videos as they drop live every day, then that's why there's not been one for a week or so, just because I had some time off to enjoy Christmas with my family and my friends, and it was very lovely. I hope that you had a brilliant Christmas yourselves. And so now I'm back into the swing of creating some more content, moving through into the new year of 2020. Today we are coming back to play Shamrock Rovers in the Irish Premier Division with our club Cobh Ramblers. So I've just had a quick look around just to reacquaint myself with a couple of things to say. So we had a couple of wins and a couple of losses since the last time you and I were together for an episode of Rolling in the Isles. And so, you know, a couple of wins considering how the first half of the season went. You can see that we have picked up quite a lot since the turn of May, which has been really positive. So that leaves us still bottom of the table, and we're still likely to get relegated. I'm under no illusions about the fact that it's going to be very hard not to be, but we are picking up some points, which is really positive, and we're only 3 points behind Sligo Rovers above us, so that's positive in itself. And the next couple of games are Shamrock in 7th, and then I think Sligo is after that, are they not? And they are. So that's a really important game for us to see if we can get points and try and draw level at least with Sligo, and see if we can at least put some pressure on those couple of teams above the relegation zone, just to see if we can find a miracle out for how we've been so far and try and survive this season. In terms of anything else, the club financially are not doing brilliantly, unfortunately. It's a real tough ask to maintain a decent bank balance at this level. It feels like when you're trying to push and try and get some better players in to see if you can stay in the Premier Division. If we can manage it this season and rewrite ourselves over the summer with a few good bits of transfer dealing, then I think the club's on a fairly sound footing. But if they get relegated, which is more than likely, let's be honest, then I think it might be a little bit of a struggle to regain some of that financial clout again. But that's for another day, and to be honest, I might not even be here. If we get relegated this current season, I may well decide to move on from this club in our Journeyman series, just to see whether we can find sort of pastures new, as it were, and a different challenge. Having been promoted earlier than expected from the Irish First Division, it's been a struggle in the Premier Division, but you know, it is what it is. We can only do what we can do and play the teams in front of us and see whether we can get some more positive results. So Shamrock Rovers is the team for today. You can see that they're in and around us in the league, so it's important for us to get a couple of decent results if possible before we play Cork in a couple of games' time, who are sitting top of the division. So let's go into the tactics, and I think this has been a fairly straightforward structure of play and tactical and formation style for us now. The 4-4-2 really, with the attacking wide left player and the couple of strikers, Dolan acting as the target man. He's got a decent heading ability and a decent enough strength about him, but 14 heading ability is good, which is better than his composure for some of his finishing. So hopefully, he'll continue to provide a good opportunity to hold up play and move the ball on for the likes of Curran, who have got 8 in 21, which isn't bad, but he blows hot and cold a little bit. And you can see why, really, looking at him. The composure isn't as good as it should be necessarily. But if we look through some of our other strikers, you can see that it's a running theme. Composure is the issue, really. This one, Robbie Dunn, has got 2 goals in 13 matches. And then further down, we've got Cronin, who's not really played too much. Has done fine when he has played, and you can see his composure's better. But there's just, there's just better players that we have in and around the squad. He will continue to get games here and there. And then the last one being Brian Murphy, who's got 1 in 3. And again, average rating wise isn't particularly good. And you can see that is part of our issue this season. Whilst the likes of Dunn and Dolan, etc., were scoring decent amounts in the previous season in the First Division, in the Premier Division they've really struggled. And the other area that we've been really struggling in is our central defensive partnership. We have a lack of pace in our central defensive options. And so currently it's Marco and Best, and they're doing okay. But even that is, is it okay really? I don't know. It's as good as we can do. But I mean, look, in the last couple of games, we played Dundalk and lost 5-1. So yeah, not brilliant, is it? But anyway, this is what we've got to work with. So we are doing our very, very best. We've changed the style of play around here and there to try and find a better way of doing it. We've changed the attacking player option in terms of putting Dolan in there as the target man, just to add a difference in our forward line. A couple of players have broken into the first team in Hanratty and Marku. And Hurley took over from Buckley just because he was a better option, I felt. So yeah, things are better than they have been, but we are still struggling in terms of the overall picture of the division, and the second half of the season is going to be hard. What have we got left? I think we've got about 13 games left. There's 36 games to play in this league. So yeah, another 13 games to see if we can get some more points on the board to at least try and challenge to stay in the division if possible. Anyway, so for today's team, we've got a few issues. So the likes of Dooney is out because he's suspended. Lyons is just coming back from a bit of an injury, so his fitness is down. Cronin is out with an injury for another couple of weeks, so he's not available for today. Everybody else is fairly okay. So the team that we're going to put out is Horgan in goal, Fleming at right back, Kane at left back, Marco and Best in central defence, Hurley and Sangair in central midfield, Turner on the right, Hanratty on the left, and Dolan and Curran up top, with a bench of O'Riordan, Taylor, Buckley, Spalek, O'Driscoll, Power and Dunn. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So in terms of team talk for today, I've taken the decision just not to do anything in terms of not put any pressure on them, not put any expectation on them. So I have just left it blank for now. We'll deal with whatever happens in the first half at half time. But for now, I just want them to kind of chill out a little bit and see if they can just go out there and play with no pressure and see where that leads us. So we'll now lead into kickoff. So Shamrock Rovers are at home, which means that, again, is that age-old debate of are we better at home or away? I'm not sure, really, but today we're away from home at Shamrock, and we play in our claret and blue, and they've got a very interesting green and white hooped kit. Very green, their stands and their stadium, isn't it? But here they come with an opportunity for Shamrock to attack us centrally. They move the ball nicely, gain some space, and there's a very long shot by McInnes. Oh dear, very, very long powered shot along the floor. I'm not even sure the goalkeeper moved. They found some good space. They're sort of almost tiki-taka, moving it back and forth very quickly. And there's the killer ball into that little bit of space, approaches the penalty area and just fires an early shot. And it catches everybody by surprise, and we go 1-0 down in the first 10 minutes of the game, and that's not particularly great. We've had a shot at goal on target, but they've had like 6 already, so you can see that we're being dominated a little bit. And again, in possession, that we're not doing that well either. Corner kick for Shamrock. Corner comes in to the near post. We get a half clearance on it, but Wilson picks it back up for Shamrock. Goes back to the top of the penalty. Oh, and there's another long shot. And this time it's Watts from a pretty much exactly identical spot just above the penalty box. And our goalkeeper, Horgan, is not doing well on those, is he, at all, covering his area at all today. Wilson, you can see, picks up the loose ball, having been half cleared. And then it's just straight a first-time shot by Watts. Again, catches everybody by surprise. And we go 2-0 down, just coming up on the half-hour mark. Again, it's another opportunity for Shamrock. The cross comes in. That's a much better clearance up to Dolan, who plays a 1-2 with Curran. Dolan gets an opportunity, but it's blocked very nicely by the defence. But in clearing it, we regain possession in our defensive area, and the highlight dies at that point. So we had a decent opportunity on that occasion. Good interplay from Dolan and Curran, but the actual shot itself was blocked and we didn't get anything from it. And it's a very weak first half, isn't it? Look at those statistics from the first half. They've had 15 shots on goal. We've only had 2. We've had a lot less possession, and it's really showing itself. So we're going to have to put a rocket under them. Maybe the no team talk at the beginning didn't help, but I expected a better performance than that anyway. But tell the boys they did well and their efforts were excellent, was my assistant's option for a team talk. Surprisingly enough, I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to aggressively tell them that was terrible, your performance has been extremely poor, and fire them up, hopefully. But then let's build them up as well and passionately go in and say, no, I can't use that, have I? You weren't that bad, I believe you can still improve. Is that a bit of a contradiction? Yeah, I think that's a bit of a contradiction, so I'm not going to use it on this occasion. I'm going to end the team talk there and go back into the second half and just see if we can find a way to lift our game slightly and at least show that we're capable of competing in this particular match. But again, it's a Shamrock highlight with a free kick 30 yards out for Kavanagh. What can he do with it? His shot comes in and it goes narrowly wide, and again Horgan didn't seem to really move. He was very static on his line, hoping maybe more than anything that it's going to go over or wide. At 67 minutes, we're going to pause the game there. I've got a couple of issues that I want to sort out. Firstly is a yellow card and a low conditioning for Stephen Best in central defence. So we're going to bring O'Riordan, O'Riordan on for him. And then moving forward through the team, you can see that we've got a couple of other issues in terms of Hurley on a 6.4, we've got Kane on a 6.4, we've got Dolan on a 6.4, we've got Hanratty on a 6.3. There's lots of poor ratings in there. So we are going to change Hanratty for power. He's going to come and play down that left-hand side. And then what do? Do we solidify the midfield or put somebody up top that's going to do something more for us? I think what we're going to do is try and get some more creativity in the midfield. We'll put Spalek in there alongside Sangaré. Both are more creative players, a little less steel in midfield, but we've got to get the ball up to those strikers in a better way than we have been. So those are the changes that we're going to make. And then we're going to change this and we're going to go attacking and just see if in the last 15 minutes or so we can finally get some form of opportunity that can bear fruit somehow. But it's gone deathly quiet, hasn't it? You can see that their conditioning is lowered, so is ours. So you can see that the game is taking its toll on us. And then all of a sudden, the game is over. And what an absolute damp squib that was. Really, really terrible performance, really, compared to what we have been doing recently. 6 shots on goal, 1 on target the entire game when we're trying to fight for our existence in the Premier Division is nowhere near good enough. And what do? I mean, we are underdogs for all of these games. We are predicted to go down. We are predicted to lose pretty much every game that we play. But do you just let them get away with it? Or do you try and put a rocket up them and suggest that it's not good enough? See, again, my assistant's wants to tell them that their efforts were excellent. I don't think they were today. We've played a lot better than that. So I'm going to say I'm far from pleased with that result. Now, what did it get? It got a bit of a stressed reaction from Hanratty, but everybody else seemed to be fired up and motivated. So I'll take that for now. But I don't know. These are hard things to figure out at times. What you do and what you say to a group of players that, in theory, should be losing these games, but you don't want them to be, and you want them to be able to perform in a different way. But there you go. Today, Shamrock Rovers apparently coasted past us, and I'd agree with that, really. It wasn't a huge scoreline, but it was a very dominant performance by Shamrock, and that leaves us still adrift at the bottom. We next get Sligo, and that's a really important game, just to see if we can try and catch up to them. Unfortunately for us, they've still now got a game in hand over us, so we could be 6 points behind them at this point when we play them, but who knows. And then we've got a couple of hard games coming up. We've got Cork, and then we've got St Patrick's Athletic, and they're both in the top 3. Sandwiched in there is an Irish. What's the competition called? The Irish Senior Challenge Cup. Yeah, and we're up against Bluebell United, who are way down in terms of the league structure. So hopefully that's an opportunity to get some confidence just before we go into some tricky games. So when are we going to come back next for the next episode? Well, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go, back into the schedule. So what we're going to do is we're now currently sitting just towards the end of July. You can see that we've got another 3 months of the season to go. And so what we're going to come back for is we'll come back for Shelbourne. I think they are fairly close to us in league terms. Yes, they're sitting in 8th. So that'll be the next game that we come to. And hopefully in the meantime, we can get a couple of slightly surprising results, let's hope, in the games against people like Cork and St Patrick's Athletic. And hopefully a really good win in the Senior Challenge Cup, just to get some confidence. So yeah, wish us well for that. I will be back for the Shelbourne game. As I say, I hope you all had a great festive season. I hope that you're looking forward to, as I am, some interesting journey as we move through this series on the Journeyman into 2020. I hope you'll continue to join me. If you're enjoying the series so far, then please subscribe to the channel. It will help me enormously to have more people subscribe to my channel and following the content, which, you know, just helps me to grow the channel. So if you are enjoying the series, why not subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with the videos. If you enjoyed this particular episode or any particular episode that I put out, please take a moment to like it for me. Click that like button. That's the biggest thing you can do to help the growth of my very, very small channel at this point. And 2020 is a year in which I want to find a way to grow it as much as I can. So any help you can give on that front would be most appreciated. But if you're playing Football Manager yourself, then let me know how you're getting on. I'm always interested to hear other people's stories as to what the game means to them and how they're getting on with it this year. But until next time, that'll do it for today. So until next time, take care of yourselves. I will see you soon, and bye for now.